Me and Karina Kapoor were in Mithibai College in the same year. I was in science, she was in commerce. We used to sit in the same class during examination, give a probationary officer's examination, get into a bank,
mm,
and once you get into a bank, you can just spend your entire lifetime and stay in that bank forever, and you don't have anything to worry about. The moment I got introduced to computers, and banks did not have computers at that time, so I got into this programming and all the stuff. I realized, no, that's not what I want to do. I
mm,
actually used to appear for probationary officer exams because my dad used to force me to do that, and I used to flunk in those exams. I used to give incorrect answers. My dad was furious. My first job, I lasted 6 months, and I changed. He said, like, I've been working in the same company for 20 years, and you are changing it in 6 months. It was not until I got into Morgan Stanley that he actually
mm,
started respecting what I'm doing.
mm,
So, by chance, he got hold of a salary slip because it was lying on my table. And he said, "Oh, this is what you're drawing. Our AGMs in State Bank of India draw that kind of salary."
mm.
So that's when he started respecting, no, what he's doing good. And he made the right choice of not joining the bank and getting into IT. My kids actually they speak in Hindi. They speak
Mm.
a few words in English. They speak a few words in Nepali. They speak Gujarati because we are Gujarati,
Yeah.
and my neighbors are South Indian Tamilians.
Mm.
They spend some time over there as well, so they are also catching up Tamil. Plus, our
Mm.
nanny is Maharashtrian, so they also know Marathi.
All right. So, welcome Vishal and Vishal. Another episode of Digital Homad Podcast. Uh, Welcome, guys. So, Vishal has joined us. So, Vishal C Rajani has joined us from Mumbai. Hi, Vishal. And
Hello.
then another Vishal, he joined us from Noida. Both have different backgrounds. So Vishal Rajani has is a 21-old years of experience working in IT industry, specialized in Java, cloud-based technologies. Worked with a like fintech firms, or not fintech, I would say, like financial firms, Morgan Stanley, Credit Suisse, and then worked with UpGrad, currently working at Ignite, remotely from Mumbai. Has a uh, has done BSc in mathematics and then moved to MBA in finance. Worked as a data analyst for a couple of years and then moved into software engineering. So this is, I feel like, very fascinating about someone who is uh, has done BSc in mathematics and done MBA and then moved to engineering. So we'll talk about that in this. We'll also talk about Java as the whole, like what is the market, how things are moving on, and if someone wants to build a career in Java, what guidance or what tips Vishal wants to give it to them. Also talk about Vishal's personal journey. So we'll kick off with the Vishal's personal journey, how he started, where he's from, and what was his childhood looks like. Uh, so Vishal, let's do it this way. So the very first question I have for you is from the very beginning. So tell us from the start, from your childhood, from your school, which school you went to, uh, and how was your childhood looking like, about a little bit about your family and about your
Sure.
uh, certain things about that. Yeah.
So, my basically my parents had a love marriage, right? And at that time, it was not. I mean, the families were not that supportive, so
Mm-hmm.
they had to move out. So my beginning was very humble, right? We used to stay in a chawl in Ulhasnagar, and my dad used to work in State Bank of India. He used to up and down from Ulhasnagar to Churchgate. It was around 2 hours journey one way, and he used to do that every day. Then my mother got pregnant with my sister, so we moved to our own home. We shifted to a location, a town, small town known as Bhayandar. It's just outside Mumbai. Uh, and it's a precarious kind of. I mean, those are two suburbs, Mira Road and Bhayandar, which are part of the Mumbai island, but they are not part of Mumbai. So they used to come at that time in Thane district. Now even the population over there has grown full fledged, so they have their own municipality and it's a separate township altogether. So my entire childhood, my schooling, my colleging, it happened. We used to stay over there. So there was a convent school, Our Lady of Nazareth High School. It was regarded as one of the like best schools out there in Bhayandar at that time, where the education was strict, and there was also focus on developing the other aspects in children at that time basically. So not only education, we also focused a lot on the extracurricular activities, including drawing. Somebody was inclined towards drama and all the stuff, so we used to have those sessions. Then sports activities were like full-fledged, they used to happen. I did not fit in many of the sports because I was lazy per se, but I used to play kabaddi a lot. Uh, that's where my weight was used to fullest extent, where I can actually, I mean, grab hold of somebody, or if somebody is holding me, I can pull them out across the line. So it helped me that way. So it was good. I'm still in touch with a lot of school friends. They are all well off. Some are out of India, and some are like spread across Mumbai, and in fact all over India, basically. So over there, I was always a studious kind of person because my mother used to take home tuitions. So I had to maintain that, okay, I'm a teacher's son, so I have to have certain standards as well. And I used to see other children who used to come home and they used to study. So it always, I mean, there was always that studious kind of environment inbuilt, right? So it helped me and my sister to do academically well as compared to others. So I may not be the most talented guy, but I was a well trained guy. So even if you don't have a talent, but if you have training, you can still do well in the field. And then I joined Mithibai College. It's one of the good colleges in Mumbai suburbs, basically. It's in Vilepale. So that's where I did my graduation from. 11th, 12th, I did from over there. Unfortunately, due to certain health issues, I did not fare well in the 10 plus 2 exam. I did not get enough percentage to get into engineering anywhere in Mumbai. So I got into two colleges that were like very remote from Mumbai. One was in Satara, or no, it was in Sangli. Other one was in Karjat. Karjat I did not go because it was civil engineering. In Satara I was getting into electronics and telecommunications, which was still good because I always had inclination towards the to get into programming or computers at that time. I was introduced to that when I enrolled myself in EdTech, because at that time there were no big institutes, so I started learning coding over there, and it always enticed me. Uh, but Sangli, when I came home, both my grandmothers were home and my mother was also home. So all the three started crying because at that time I did not consume spicy food, and Sangli is famous for its spicy food. So they were crying that how will my child survive and all the stuff. So my dad said, okay, then go tomorrow and cancel your admission. That's what I did, and I enrolled myself in BSc. Uh, Somehow some people do feel that engineering is a must to get into it. Now the situation might be that way, but during my time I felt that it was the best decision which I took with a heavy heart, but it fared well because uh, to sail through the BSc mathematics education is much more simpler than going through the 12 plus 4 years of engineering at that time in Mumbai, because there were not many seats. There were hardly 22,000 seats all over Maharashtra for engineering. So competition was also very high. Plus, because of reservations, there would be some people who would get in and then they would drop off after first year. So that reduce your chances of getting into a good engineering college. So I did mathematics, BSc in mathematics. After I completed my graduation, in the meanwhile, I had finished my AppTech course. Then I did a course from an institute known as NCST. National Center for Software Technology. Now it's merged with CDAC. So that course actually took a turn, basically because of which I got into like credibility that okay, I'm good for being a software programmer. But since I was in market hunting for job in 2003, that was not a very good time because it was still recession. People were not after the dot com boom, and people were not hiring heavily in the IT market at that time. So I got into data analysis since I had mathematical background, and they required people from mathematics and statistics discipline basically to help them out. And we used to do market research data analysis. So we used to get chunk load of data from our clients in US and UK. We used to use softwares like SPSS to convert that data into tabular format so that client would make sense of where the data is going. So from those tables, then we used to derive bar graphs and line graphs, and we used to present the data to them. After spending around a year and a half in that role, I got the opportunity to start as a programmer. They were hiring people from NCST, and they were very much into it because the founders were the engineering founders in that company. They were from NCST, so it's kind of a alumni thing for them. So that's where I got my first coding break. I shifted to Java from data analysis, and then I kind of never looked back. So that was the first job was in a kind of a startup. It was a US based company, but they had an office in Mumbai, and that's when everything started. And like you had said earlier, after that I shifted on to investment banks. I got into Polaris for corporate banking product that they were working on, and I had two major stints where I was in Singapore for 3 years. I was working for another investment bank, Credit Suisse, over there, and then I came back. I got into healthcare projects, and from that company, I went to US for 1.5 years. I came back, and then I was in telecom domain for about 5 years. So it was telecom come payment, mobile payments basically, and then it was upgrade, and currently I'm in Ignite for last almost 3 years now.
Nice. Thanks for that detailed, background about your journey. Loved every piece what you said. So I'll still go back to your childhood,
Yeah.
and wanna ask this. So you mentioned about your parents had a love marriage, right?
Yes.
At that time, were they from similar caste, or was it an intercaste?
So I wouldn't say intercaste. The caste was similar
Mm-hmm.
because both of them belong to Vaishnav thing. But my dad's Gujarati and my mom is Nepali.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay, so it was like total different regions. Even though my mom is born and brought up in Gujarat, and
Hmm.
they actually met in State Bank of India, and they were working together, and that's when and they used to stay in very nearby as well in residence, and they used to take bus from over there to the bank. So that's how they
So
got
that's
into
how
it.
it started.
Yes, that's how it started.
So your mom also used to work in SBI?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And so how does your food look like in your childhood, where your dad is Gujarati, your mom is Nepali? Very different cuisine altogether.
Not really, because my mom is an excellent cook, and she's a quick learner as well, and so is my wife. Even though my wife is Gujarati, the way they used to cook at their home and the way we cook at our home is like, I mean, it's totally different. They eat a lot of salty and spicy food. Over here, we don't prefer to have that much salt and spicy, and so they actually kind of they caught up really fast. So I never felt that difference. Basically, even while growing up, even my dad was happy the way my mom cooked, because she was a very quick learner, and she's an excellent chef actually. She's famous amongst her friend circle as well as my friend circle. So whenever anything, basically it happens even in office, right? whenever I used to carry my tiffin box, I hardly get to eat that food because others would consume what my mom used to prepare. They used to like the taste and stuff like that. So,
Cool. Which is one dish that you like the most?
oh, I like the most. There are two dishes actually. I prefer chole bhatura and pav bhaji.
Okay.
Uh, Mom makes it exceptionally well. I've tried multiple restaurants. Apart from two or three restaurants, I haven't found a similar taste anywhere else. Even
Okay.
when I go to friends' house, I don't. I mean, if they are cooking pav bhaji, chole bhatura is still okay. If they are cooking pav bhaji, then I would make sure that I eat something at home and then I go, because if it's a disappointment, then I would not like to stay hungry.
Yeah. Okay. So both pav bhaji and chole bhature are non-Gujarati, non-Nepali
Yes,
dish, right?
yes,
Uh, Interesting. Chole bhature is mine favorite as well. I think most of the North Indians love chole bhature
yep,
Yes.
on the weekends with a big glass of lassi
yes,
or charge, whatever you get,
yeah,
and then a then a 1 or 2 hour sleep.
correct.
You can't do anything. Nice. So your both of your parents were at SBI, right?
Yes.
Uh, have your dad or your mom saw these SBI memes that goes around like from past 3 4 years about SBI?
So actually, like my dad retired very long time back. At that time, we did not even have feature phones.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Right. He retired around in 2008, 2009. So before the augmentation of all these memes and all those things, right, he was already okay. And he had his fair share of complaints with SBI. He used to go to the branches and shout that I'm a retiree, I'm a pensioner of SBI. This is not how we used to work. What you guys are doing, and like stuff like that. So he was famous for that as well, because he and his entire batch, they had a very strict work ethic, and none of the customers they ever suffered when those guys used to sit in counters. And it's not just my dad, but his entire batch. So everybody, wherever he went, right, he found similar colleagues who would be dedicated to the customer thing. But yes, right now there are like certain issues. My brother-in-law is in SBI, so he has to go through a lot for the like these memes. Whenever something like that comes up, I do send it to him first.
Yep. Also, want to ask. So you mentioned about kabaddi in
Yeah,
your school days.
yeah.
So was it like the only sport or the your favorite sport at that particular time? And how is it now? Is it do you play some sport right now as well?
I do play cricket,
Okay.
both tennis ball and season ball cricket. I do have a broken finger. You can see the purple color right now.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
can.
this was yesterday morning's net session basically with season ball. So
Hmm.
I do play cricket, but in between, so there are like periods of lull, and then there are periods where I play. I mean different sports. So for example, after I left school, right, in college, I did not participate in any sports other than I used to go out with youth hostels of India for trekking. So I used to do local treks in Maharashtra because I was too young to go for a bigger treks in Uttaranchal or Uttarakhand kind of area. So I used to only go for the preparatory monsoon treks and winter treks out here around Mumbai itself, and those were nice. But after that, everything stopped for a while. Then when I was in Singapore, I used to play TT a lot and season ball cricket a lot, because over there people do follow cricket like anything, especially the Indians who are there,
Hmm.
Indians and Pakistanis. So they all do, and they all play white. I mean red ball cricket. So they are all dressed in white and they play proper cricket over there. So that's when I again started gaining interest in cricket. And then when I went to US, we did not play cricket that much, but there were lawn tennis courts available in the community we were staying. So got
So
into that
tennis.
lawn tennis and then
Hmm.
swimming. And after I came back to India, again there were I started trekking again. So at that time, I actually went to two or three treks pre-COVID era. I've gone to a few treks in Uttarakhand as well. We used to start from Joshimath and do the treks and come back.
Hmm,
And
interesting.
then recently, when I shifted my home a year back, I started playing cricket locally. So we play box cricket with tennis balls, and off late started playing with the season ball as well. So
Okay,
all
so
the old
where
guys
do
they
you?
play.
Yeah, please, please.
Yeah, so all the old guys get together and play so that none of them feel that okay, oh that guy is like much faster than I am. So we don't feel those kind of issues. So we go with people who are like aged and not
Yeah,
youngsters.
I think that's the beauty of the game, right? When you have everybody in the same, era around you. I mean, like it's much more competitive then. Otherwise, you will feel like, okay, this guy is faster than me, right?
Yeah.
Or more energetic than me.
Yeah.
Right. So you play box cricket plus you play season ball cricket where?
Yes. We have the box cricket set up nearby my complex itself, just outside my complex gate. It's a rentable area where people come in, they rent and they play. So
Mhm.
a lot of people actually come from all over Powai, where I'm staying right now. And for season cricket, for the net sessions, we can go anywhere for at least practicing or getting into shape for that. But the actual matches we play in, there are like quite a few small club grounds out here in Mumbai, which we actually book and go and play some tournaments or practice matches over there.
Cool. Nice. Let's move on to the next thing about you mentioned about but the love marriage, right? So were you a part of a nuclear family or a joint family when you
It
were
was a
growing up?
nuclear family because see, my mom's side was a huge family, and they used to stay. I mean, earlier they used to stay in Mumbai, but then they then later shifted to Gujarat because my uncle, he was in army.
Hmm.
So at that time he was roaming all over India. For 5 years, he used to be in one place, and then his posting used to change. So my grandmother actually she moved back to Gujarat because they had a land over there. They had houses, plus they also had a chawl system that they used to rent out, right? So there was nobody to look after that. So they from Mumbai they went to Navsari in Gujarat, where they are settled right now. So that we used to visit. My nani was okay with the marriage, but my basically my chachas and my dadi, they were not okay with that. So when I say they were not okay, was it was okay when we used to visit them for festivals, right? But staying together used to create a lot of issues. So I was part of the nuclear family that actually came up. Earlier, we used to stay when we were in Binder. We used to stay in one room kitchen, so that was just one living room and kitchen. Then, as we grew up, me and my sister, right, we needed some study area as well. So we shifted to one BHK in Bhinder itself. From over there, then we went to Kandivali, then Borivali, then we came to Andheri, and now we are settled in Powai. Now I
Okay.
have 3 BHK flat because I'm working from home. I
Hmm.
have twin daughters and they don't let me work, so I need a separate room for my office setup.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about Mithibai College. How was your college life there?
It was a very different experience as compared to other people, and I'll tell you the reason why. So, in during my schooling days, right, we were like co-ed, so we had boys and girls in the same class, and everybody were good in communication because it's a convent school. They did focus on English and Hindi communication, and they also focused on Hindi as well a lot, right? And Marathi we sucked because it was not our natural language. So we used to get a lot of beatings over there as well. So that actually improved us to speak good Marathi as well. Because one thing that they taught us was, whatever state you go in, if you are staying for more than 4 5 months, you should know the local language, because that
Hmm.
will get you out of soup a lot many times than you know. If that other person doesn't know how to speak in Hindi or English, then you can't communicate. So you need to have local language. So that's how my schooling was. But when I shifted to Mithibai college, I was assigned to a particular batch where there were only guys. Okay, because we had practicals till 8:30 p.m. in the night. So at that time they would not allow girls to stay that late, and it was a different surreal experience because everybody, Mithibai is a Gujarati funded college basically. So there are a lot of Gujarati guys who came in, and many of them were from vernacular medium. So after the first year, it actually happened that I felt shy in interacting with girls actually. So whenever they used to come and approach me for anything, I used to just run away. It was a very and I was good in English during my school days. I was good in Hindi during my school days. But after I finished my first year, I everything had a Gujarati accent in it, and my grammar had taken a hit. But when I went to a 12th standard, again it was back to the co-ed setup, and it took some time. But I again got my confidence that okay, I can speak with other people, I can go out, I don't need to be shy. But it was a different surreal experience that I had in my during my college days. And secondly, at that time people did not used to go out that much, right? So for me it was like I was kuwe ka mendak in Bhayandar. I My entire world revolved around Bhayandar. The only time that we used to go out was when my dad used to, and he used to do that on regular basis, once every 2 or 3 months. Whenever a good English movie used to come, right? Superman movie, Spider-Man movie, Batman movie, he used to take us to South Mumbai in good theaters near his office. He used to book tickets in advance. We all used to go by train, watch the movies, and come back. So that was good thing that he did. Lot of my friends did not even have that experience, so they struggled when they actually moved out of Bhayandar for college education. And after 12th, I was again back to normal, speaking with everybody, and had a different world experience as well. So during BSc, it was like quite smooth as compared to my 11th standard. But I'll never forget the 11th standard that I attended, because it was a different surreal experience altogether.
Uh, Interesting. So I can relate to this because I had a similar experience when I moved to 11th standard. I was studying in an ICSC college
Hmm.
school till 10th, and there we used to speak in English.
Correct.
You can say we walk and we talk, we breathe English in ICSC. And you used to pay fine 1 rupees. Initially, it was 1 rupees. Then it became 5 rupees when I reached class 10, and you had to pay that if anybody found you
Yep.
speaking in Hindi. And then when I moved to class 11, so I moved to a CBSE school, which was Saraswati Vihar, which was backed by BJP and
Hmm.
all of that
Hmm.
stuff. And there, so initially I was praying for in my ICSC, we were praying Jesus, right? 15
Right.
minutes, everything in English. Then we moved to pure Hindi prayers with a yoga session, with another sessions, which lasted long for almost an hour. I
Hmm.
was not used to
Correct.
pray for an hour in school
Hmm.
every single day. So that was one thing that impacted me, and I was like literally shocked कि मैं कहाँ आ गया कौन से स्कूल में आ गया हूँ मैं
Yep.
and then in that school nobody was speaking in English, so my English like has taken, I'm like I even lost my touch of speaking in English. And for almost 2 years I literally didn't have to speak in English because
Hmm.
everybody was speaking in Hindi. Even the
Hmm.
when your principal used to give you a lecture or something like a TED talk, he used to speak in Hindi and pure Hindi. So we used to
Hmm.
call him. I mean, like his name was Ganga Prasad Rohela. We used to call him GPRS.
Hmm.
right? That was the only English word we used to talk, we used to speak when we were in the assembly and all. So I can understand that, even my English got impacted because of school, because of the environment and the culture. And I can relate to the second thing as well. So it is interesting, and I think it's common that your dad was a fond of English movie. We can say that, right?
Yep. Yep.
And he used to take you. And my dad was fond of Jurassic Park movies. So whenever there was a Jurassic Park movie, I still have those memories. I was like 5 or 4 years old and going to theater with my dad to watch Jurassic Park 1, 2, 3. And I mean, like anybody in my family, like be it my bua's kid or other kids, we all used to go to watch. We all have watched Jurassic Park movies.
No, and
So,
but there's one thing that I would like to note about my school. So when I was in my school, right, before getting into school, so our entire family's tradition was that everybody needs to go to Gujarati medium school.
mm,
So before getting into school, there used to be interviews, and we had to write 1 to 10. So my mom actually tried for 1 week. I was not able to write one in Gujarati. Okay, and she trashed me left, right, and center. And then she said, "Okay, let's try English." So she taught me 1 to 10, and I was able to finish that within a day.
mm,
So my mother also said, "Okay, whatever happens, I'm putting him in English medium school. Otherwise, he'll be struggling his entire life." But one good thing that I found in that school, where I mean, it was run by convents, all our teachers and principals, they were from the Christians from Kerala. Okay, and
mm,
they struggled even to speak in Hindi,
mm,
right? But one thing that during a parents teachers kind of meeting, right, my mom actually told the English teacher that she is also speaking with me in English, me and my sister, so that we pick up the language fast. She said, like, don't do that. She said, you
mm.
teach him Hindi, you teach him your mother tongue. He said, don't even focus on Hindi, focus on your mother tongue. He said, like, because he's not going to learn that mother tongue in school, his
Yeah.
English, Hindi, and all the other languages he will pick up from his friends. We will teach him in the school. You focus, you don't let your culture go down. So that was the, I mean, she was a sister,
Mm,
a nun basically, and that's what she said. That actually made a lot of print in my memory as well, because I was present at that time. I do still starkly remember she saying these words to my mother. So that's when I always believed that yes, English is necessary, but I mean, is necessary is our culture as well. So we need to focus on our languages as well, and they should not be just be there in the literary libraries and all those places. So whenever I speak in Hindi, I do try that I don't use English words. So I do make an effort that way, and I don't prefer speaking in English. I
mm.
try to speak in Hindi whenever I'm speaking Hindi, and English whenever I'm speaking English.
I'd second that, what you just said, because I also feel I've stayed and worked in different states like Odisha,
Hmm.
Bengal, then UP itself, right? So I felt that, yeah, I mean, like if you're staying in a state for more than 3, 4 months, you should be able to communicate, even if like with the slightest possibility of getting that accent, or but you should be able to communicate with the shopkeeper or the panwala or whatever you do, right? At least that sort of language understanding and speaking should be there.
Yes,
uh, and it helps a lot, like you said. You can get out of different stuff. You can get multiple things done if you can speak that language, and it's also an advantage. And I feel like the culture part in the house, like your mom is Nepali and your dad is Gujarati, so you are half Gujarati, half Nepali. The kids should have both language understanding, or
yes,
at least one of them, so that they know, okay, like this is our culture, right?
correct.
And it helps a lot. So my wife is Kumaoni. right? But their family shifted to Plains area uh, long back, right? But their Nani's place and Dadi's place are still in Kumaon region, so they
Hmm.
speak Kumaoni, but my wife doesn't speak. She understands.
Oh, okay.
So I felt that okay, I mean like you should be able to speak that language
Yes.
because it's your culture, your mother tongue is that. Your mother tongue is not Hindi.
Correct.
Mine is Hindi, but yeah, I mean, like, that's the beauty of it that your kid or people should know more than two language. Hindi and English, everybody knows it, right? Except
Yes.
some people in India who doesn't
Yes.
know Hindi, but Hindi and English are very common. So what X factor you are bringing is your mother tongue or any other language that you know.
Yeah, so my kids actually they speak in Hindi. They
Hmm.
speak a few words in English. They speak a few words in Nepali. They speak Gujarati because we are Gujarati.
Yeah.
And my neighbors are South Indian Tamilians.
Hmm.
They spend some time over there as well. So they are also catching up Tamil. Plus
Hmm.
our nanny is Maharashtrian, so they also know Marathi.
Nice.
And they
It's
can
a
make out
combo.
a yeah, they can make out a difference that okay, I'm speaking to this person, so I'm supposed to speak in this language. So with my maid or nanny, they would always try to make it an effort to speak in Marathi.
Hmm.
Even
Mm.
though they are 2 year olds, they are like way smarter than I am. I mean, I was playing in mud, putting things in my mouth at that age. These guys are like very
We
advanced.
all were doing that.
Yeah,
Yes.
In our
and
age. But
completely.
yeah, I think the kids now are very smart, and I think this language thing. I have read somewhere that it's like up to 4 or 5 years they can learn whatever you teach them.
Yes.
It's like
Yes.
they can learn coding if you teach them coding,
Correct.
right?
Mm.
After that it becomes very difficult, and then later in the ages like we people feel like okay after 10th or 12th real journey starts of learning. No, it starts
No.
after one or two
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
and stays there till 5 or 6, and after that it's very becomes
Yeah,
difficult and difficult
Correct.
I
and
can
difficult.
I can give you an example. So my daughter, she is 3 now, and I was like watching something on TV, and I fell asleep. And the next video played was in Russian. It was a cartoon which was already played, and they had a Russian version of it. Now she can hear that, and it played multiple time before as well. So one day before sleeping, she was reciting that in Russian, and me and my wife was like, what she's saying. And then we remember, oh, this is the song. She doesn't know any word of it, but she knows the tone, she
Yeah.
knows the basic stuff. So I'm like, wow, you don't know what they can pick
So
anytime.
Yep.
absorption is very easy.
Yeah,
Yes.
very easy.
They absorb everything and anything that happens around them. So you have to be careful sometimes.
Yes,
My
yeah.
my youngest cousin was 4 or 5. She used to watch Sana's video. It's she's a YouTuber in
Hmm.
US. Does you know this toy reviews and play some games, right? In the span of 2 or 3 months, she was, when she used to speak English at the age of 3 or 4, she was having US accent.
Correct.
Anybody speaking to her on phone couldn't say that she's an Indian child, right? So she was, and she is still pro in US accent. So even if she speaks English now, she mimic UX accent only.
So
There
now
is no other accent.
she will actually struggle to lose that accent and speak the way
Yes,
we Indians speak,
yeah,
because that's how she has been molded and trained right from the beginning, right? So
yes,
actually
yes.
she does not have that fake accent. It's her original accent that she's picked up.
Original, yeah, she
Yeah.
picked up.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes.
same as, see, because now all the cartoons which kids watch are made in US, or like they have that accent, most of them.
Yep.
So my daughter, she also has the US accent in like talking. So whenever I take her home and she will speak anything in English, my father doesn't understand. He understands English, but he doesn't understand the accent. So
Yeah.
he struggles with her. It's really something new which is happening right now.
Yep. Okay, one quick question, Vishal, I have.
Hmm.
So Mithibai College is like very famous college in Mumbai, right?
Yes.
People know that, right? A lot of celebrity also has graduated from that college. What is your fondest memory or the quirkiest memory from that college,
Uh,
from your
well,
days?
so the fondest memory is not related to celebrities,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a different kind of bonding that I had. Like when I came out of school, right? I did not have a single school friend out there in Mithibai, but there were a couple of guys with whom I actually bonded very well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that journey changed me a lot. I mean, there were quite a few things that used to happen. For example, a student came in late in class, so professor asked him, why are you late? He said the trains are late. So the professor allowed him, but then Mithibai college is in Vileparle. He used to come from Vileparle east to west, so there were no trains in his journey. But yes, the trains were late at that day. So I mean, I know that people, what I learned that differentiated from the things that I learned in school, we were like very studious, but in this college, when I went to college, I learned how to be street smart, how to think on your feet and act and say things, right? uh, which I don't think so. I mean, anybody would have taught us in the school. It's something only when you start moving out of the house. I mean, we used to travel by train. It used to take us 30 minutes to 30 or 40 minutes to travel from home to college and back. Uh, at that time, even though the population was not that high, but then the number of trains that were plying were also very low. So if I mean, the first time that I went to college, and I came back from my the practicals, I came at around 9 p.m. to Andheri station. I was standing on the station till 10:30. I was not even able to get in a single train. It was so crowded, and I was shit scared. Like, what would I do, right? But then eventually you learn that okay, you need to make your own space. Otherwise, people are not going to let you in. That's how
Mm-hmm.
the world is, right? And because everybody is fighting for resources, everybody wants to move ahead in life, right? So nobody's going to care for you. I mean, you might find some people who would help you out. That's a bonus, but you should not have that okay, I'll get somebody who will help me. You should know your way out. So that was the only time when I actually stood for 1.5 hours without getting into train. After that, I never missed a train. I've lost a shoe. I mean, it has happened. I've lost my bag and again found my bag in really crowded, squeezy like compartments. It did not matter if you had a first class pass or a second class pass, because it was like equally crowded everywhere. And as far as celebrities go, then yes, me and Karina Kapoor were in Mithibai College in the same year. I was in science, she was in commerce. We used to sit in the same class during examination
Oh,
because
interesting.
yeah. So the way exam used to happen was they would make sure that none of the adjacent people are from the same discipline.
Mm.
So I would have art student, a commerce student, and people like that. I also had I mean, I used to sit nearby Anchal Kumar. She was a model, and then she also acted in couple of films. So basically, yes, it used to give that celebrity vibe, but then it never affected us because in college it did not matter to us. I mean, they were like normal people to us. They used to speak
Mm.
with us like whenever they used to be there. Of course, Karina Kapoor had a different thing because she would get mobbed. A lot of people used to stand outside Mithibai College to catch the glimpse of celebrity kids and stuff like that at that time. So her travel time and coming to classes and examinations were different. She always used to come 5 minutes late, and she always used
Mm.
to leave 10 minutes early during examinations. But one thing that me and my friends observed was every time when she was writing the examination, she just had her head down and she used to just keep on writing it. So
Mm.
no time pass. She would finish her paper because she knew that 15 minutes. She already had 15 minutes late, but she used to make sure that she does that.
Did you ever got a chance to speak with her in
No,
that time?
because she was from a different discipline altogether, right?
Mm.
Uh, Commerce used to happen in a different wing, and science used to happen in a different wing. It's only during examinations we saw her. That's when we realized that that's her. Internet was not very common those days, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it was even the mobile phones were like 16 rupees outgoing and 8 rupees incoming. So it was it was very rare to carry even mobile phones. So
Hmm.
it used to be difficult even to spot these celebrities. Now it's like very easy, right? And we
Yeah.
never got that feeling that okay, they are celebrities, we should go and meet them, because
Hmm.
ultimately when they are in front of you, they are just normal human beings, so you don't feel that different. It's only when you see them on
Hmm.
television or movie theater that you kind of differentiate. Oh, you see that aura, otherwise in normal life you don't see that aura.
Hmm. Interesting. All right, so let's move on to another question, which
Hmm.
I am very interested in asking. So you graduated in .com recession,
Yeah.
right? What was your mindset, or what was the environment at that point in time in India? You graduated, a couple of more people graduated, your whole batch graduated, right? What was the
Yeah.
mindset that time?
So a lot of people actually went on to do their masters, right?
Hmm.
They said, okay, jobs are not available that freely, so let's go into the masters. Plus, secondly, I was from Mithibai College, where a lot of students were actually their family had a business background. So
Hmm.
no matter what discipline they would graduate in, they would ultimately join their family business.
Hmm.
They had a clear mindset about that. So it was not an issue. There were only few people like me who were hunting for jobs, and I also knew that I had to do something additional to get a job in that market if I want to get into programming. So that's where the NCST course came in, and I came out. But I always kept my options open. I always believed right from the beginnings that I'm a very big believer in destiny. So
Hmm.
every you are destined to do certain things, right? No matter how hard you try, kitne bhi haath pair maar lo, if it's not written in your destiny, you are not going to get it, right?
Hmm.
And if it is there in your destiny, that wo apne aap, it will fall in your plate, right? You will need to put in some. If it's in your destiny, you will put that many efforts to achieve that thing as well, right?
Hmm.
So I never worried about that kind of thing. Okay, data analysis, so let's get into data analysis, whatever is available, get the ball rolling, because then what happens is it becomes easier for me to hunt for jobs while I already have a job, because I don't have that additional pressure that I'm sitting at home and doing nothing,
Hmm.
right? So that kind of mindset actually helped me. And a lot of people from my college as well did a similar thing. Whatever job they got into, and eventually they shifted into programming. uh, I do remember one of my school friends. He did his engineering, but he was not able to get into electronics or telecommunication. He got into different kind of civil engineering kind of field.
Hmm.
And what he had thought was, okay, there are a lot of dropouts after the first year, so I'll switch my discipline after the first year. Anyways, first year is common for all the engineering students. But then the problem was, he also got flunked in couple of subjects in first year, so he was not able to switch. But he changed his career altogether. He focused in that. He did his masters in property or real estate related laws, and now
Hmm.
he's working for big companies like Shapurji Palonji or Rustamji, who are into construction, and he's working in their legal department. When he wanted to be an engineer, because at that time it was like, okay, if you are getting so and so percentage, you need to be an engineer. If you are getting so and so percentage, you need to get into commerce, and the lowest percentage guys would actually go into arts, right? So
Hmm.
that's how it used to be at that time. But it's doesn't matter what you do. It's important for you to realize where you fit in and what are your capabilities. Even if you are a good student, because I've seen a lot of IITians, I work with them in various companies, right? They are very shitty programmers. They are just there because they completed the computer science BTech from IIT. They are hired at a very high package in a company, but they are shitty programmers because they know how to academically clear it,
Hmm.
but they don't know how to be a good programmer. And I have had friends who are from arts, but they did some computer college, and they're excellent programmers because they can think in that particular manner. So everybody has certain strengths. It's really very important to identify early in the stage where your strengths lie. Just
mm,
like Vishal sir said, भाई बीटेक बीटेक में से तो होता नहीं है. So he shifted to sales. So that kind of realization should come, and I always knew that I wanted to get into programming, so I had that focus and I was looking out for opportunities. But even my 1.5 years in data analysis helped me a lot. It changed my mindset at that time, since I had my dad working for SBI, right? He, for his entire career he has worked in SBI. So I also had my mindset that okay, give a probationary officer's examination, get into a bank,
mm,
and once you get into a bank, you can just spend your entire lifetime and stay in that bank forever, and you don't have anything to worry about. The moment I got introduced to computers, and banks did not have computers at that time, so I got into this programming and all the stuff. I realized no, that's not what I want to do. I
mm,
actually used to appear for probationary officer exams because my dad used to force me to do that, and I used to flunk in those exams. I used to give incorrect answers because he knew my capability, that it's easy for me to crack those examinations. But on purpose, I used to go and I used to flunk in those exams because I did not want to do that. I mean, my dad was furious. My first job, I lasted 6 months and I changed. He said, like, I've been working in the same company for 20 years and you are changing it in 6 months. It was not until I got into Morgan Stanley that he actually
mm,
started respecting what I'm doing, because it was by chance. So we did not have that kind of thing. He never asked me what my salary was, and I also never really revealed. So it was something that we used to keep very personal, unless it is required. We used to reveal that information even within our family.
mm,
So by chance, he got hold of a salary slip because it was lying on my table, and he said, "Oh, this is what you are drawing. Our AGMs in State Bank of India draw that kind of salary."
mm,
So that's when he started respecting. No, what he's doing good, and he made the right choice of not joining the bank and getting into IT.
yeah. I think, uh, I mean, like that generation has, I mean, like I can vouch for it, like in your family or in any family, that generation had certain criterias that defined a good job
Yes,
Hmm.
and a high paid job, right? And that's how you get treated in your family, even by your father or grandfather or whom.
correct.
It doesn't matter who you are, right? They will treat
Hmm.
you on the basis of your salary and where you are working, what you are doing.
Yes,
I think that narrative has changed a lot in recent years because new, jobs have been created. Like content creator once
correct.
was not even a job. Nobody was
Hmm.
used to
Yeah.
look at content creators. Right now, everybody wants to be a content creator
Yep.
because they know that money is flowing in this area.
Yes.
Yep.
Uh, I was watching that meme that day. In China, the kids are practicing for like the games that Olympics had, and in India, the kids are just dancing on Bollywood songs.
No, actually, a friend of mine, we have, so we do podcasts, right? So they are like, you should do podcast on something which is trending. I mean, like, if I had to do that, I should have started dancing at the first place.
True that.
Yeah. So like mindset is already there. Like they
Yes.
everyone wants to do it, but everyone wants to do it for the money.
Yep.
No one has the passion for it. Like if they
Mm,
have the passion, they have people are succeeding. But if you run for the money, then it's like you won't be happy with this.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have seen a lot of career fails because of these. Like the current trend, everybody is running towards AI, but
Hmm.
mm,
AI, like developing the AI things, building LLMs and trying to get the data set and train your LLMs. I mean, it's not piece of cake for everybody. You need to have certain mindset, certain skill set,
Hmm.
and it's not that everybody can get into AI. Why people are running after it is like whatever is the high paying job they would get after it,
mm,
right? If it's IT, okay, everybody's going towards IT. If it is people were saying that okay, DevOps gets a lot of salary, so they would get into the DevOps kind of role. But it's
Hmm.
not that. You need to figure out what field you can excel in, where you fit
Hmm.
in. Otherwise, you will be struggling throughout your career and you will not be able to make it.
Yep.
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 Uh, Another question I have about this. So you were graduated in dot com recession, right?
Yep,
That was not, I would say, like you just started, so you may not be the person who have experienced it from a person who has had a job during that time or lost a job, right? You said like most of the people were interested in going into masters because they felt like there
correct.
are less number of jobs. How was like how was that Lehman Brother recession impact? What was that looked like in
It was
2008 9?
it was a very big thing. So that's when I was actually in Morgan Stanley, and I
Hmm.
quit the job before I could get laid off over there. The reason being that, frankly speaking, in Morgan Stanley, they had everything in place, even though it was Java-based system. They had certain automated systems where you just provide entries in Excel file and pass it on to their product, and that would generate Java code for you.
Hmm.
So I mean, the team where I worked, right? I hardly touched any Java code. All I used to do was to the test that particular generated code in for as a developer, and then it used to go into the QA environments and then onto production, and change certain values in database. So out of like my entire 10 months, there were only two production releases that I did in my entire career in Morgan Stanley. That's the reason why I
Hmm.
left that particular job. And it's good that I left, because after that, a lot of people in my team, they got fired. They did get a good reverence package at that time, right?
Hmm.
But I'm okay with not getting that package. Reason being that I found another job, and they were struggling because there are a lot of people in the market with same skill set,
Hmm.
right? So that actually affects a lot. I have been through that recession. Then when I was in Singapore, there was again a slowdown. There were a lot of people who were laid off when I finished 2 years. Laid off. Some shifted onto the support roles because their entire departments were shut down. Luckily, my department was going strong, so I did not have to get away from the technology and all stuff. But
Hmm.
those are scary times. But whenever you get those scary time again, I just kept on reminding myself, whatever is in your destiny is going to happen. So I mean, if you can't do anything about certain issues that you have, right, there is no point in worrying about them,
Hmm.
right? If you are not able to find a solution, and if you can find a solution for something, then what's the point of worrying about them, right? So
Hmm.
worry never solves anything. You just need to keep calm, because I have seen and I have faced at that time, at one period I actually got worried a lot. That affected my interview delivery capabilities as well. So there was a point where I interviewed for 15 companies, and I was rejected in all the 15 companies when I was best fit for that particular role. It's just
Hmm.
because I was not confident enough to give interviews at that time.
Okay, and that was just because you feel that is just because of the mindset that you
Just
were
because
in.
of the mindset, yes. It's just because of the mindset. You need to have a positive mindset. You need to focus. If you panic,
Hmm.
then it's kind of a I mean, you are already a lost cause. In your mind, you have already lost the thing. You are just doing things out of desperation, but
Hmm.
at the back of your mind, you are thinking, oh, this guy is going to reject me. See,
Yeah.
everything, nobody is going to kind of interviews last like 1 hour or 1.5 hours, right?
Hmm.
Nobody is going to like make out how good programmer you are going to be in that 1.5 hour. Nobody is that genius enough, right? All this
Hmm.
is like, whether they are comfortable in speaking with you, how good you are in communicating, how good you are in answering questions, whether you have good problems solving capabilities. These days people don't even focus on syntax of the whether you know how to write syntax or not, because now you can google everything out, right? You can
Hmm.
ask the AI systems to get a sample code generated for you. So what matters is whether you can solve the problems that are presented to you, and how good you are in communicating, because that saves a lot of time. If you communicate certain things which are not clear, then there are too many back and forths with different teams and different managers, right? That leads to a lot of frustrations, and tempers start flaring. But if you communicate, if your communication is clear cut, right, that, and
Hmm.
there is no confusion around it, then the process becomes really smooth. Even if, and this also happens during very tight releases that you need to do in a very really tight timelines, or production issues that are burning, your clients are shouting and you need to fix or find a solution. So the communication is the key. That's the reason why people do get into a war room kind of thing, wherein everybody comes in and everything is discussed then and there. Because otherwise, if you are doing it via Slack or via Teams, or you're just sending emails, nobody's going to understand what's happening.
Hmm.
So
Uh,
communication is the key.
a follow-up question here. So what I'm hearing is, even if you are a programmer, so a narrative goes around like, programmer needs to be very good on coding side programming, and even if they are a lighter on the communication side, they should be getting the job. But what I'm hearing is that, communication is also required, be it like writing or verbal communication, so that whatever you are telling, the other person can articulate and understand what
Correct.
is it about, right? A lot of people, I feel, don't understand the importance of communication, especially the programmers, right? They lack those communication skills, and I think a lot of candidates get rejected when they are not able to tell the projects effectively in that
Yes.
interview, and don't follow a story, a format to. So we'll come down to that point, how someone can be good at it, right?
Hmm.
From your lens. One quick question I want to understand from you. So you have been in the industry. You was there in the dot-com recession and the Lehman Brothers recession. What were the what was one biggest learning for you from each of that period?
One biggest learning is, no matter how much the CEO, your manager, or company, HR, and everybody says that we are family,
Hmm.
we are not a family. That's a professional setup. You should not get your emotions in over there. Okay. Once they don't need you, they will let you go. It is also likely that situation might come when they have to do it. It's not in their hands, but then that is going to happen, right?
Hmm.
As much as companies need, I mean, as much as you need good companies to work in, companies also need good programmers, good managers to work for them, right? That's a
Hmm.
entire setup. That's the entire ecosystem. It cannot go without one or the other, right?
Yeah.
That's why you can see that, yes, I do stay in companies for 3 years, for 5 years, but it's not something that I kind of have that emotional attachment. It's a
Hmm.
professional setup. You work, they pay. Whatever they pay, you have to work. You can also work even little extra than what they are paying for, because
Hmm.
that is your kind of lookout or ethics, like how you should be working, right? But never get into that mindset, because if you are underperforming in your family, they are not going to kick you out of the house. No matter what the situation is, right? Family always sticks together. In companies, it's never that way. It's just a professional setup. So that
Yep.
is my biggest learning. Don't get into that emotional thing, uh, that okay, my founder is saying that we are family, so I need to work it out that way. No, you don't. You don't need to burn yourself out. If by any chance you fall sick and you have to leave that job, the company will find a replacement for you, but your family will not find a replacement for you.
Yes. So it's like more of a we are a team. No, we are not a
Yes.
family. It's a team.
Yes.
And I think I would second that what you just said. So I heard Shah Rukh Khan saying this thing that I always deliver extra what I get paid for, so that people whom I'm working with, realizes that this guy is hardworking guy. He will always deliver something extra that he's being paid for.
Correct.
Interesting. Okay, about this thing that you moved from a data analyst, right?
Mhm.
Did a BSc. So there is narrative goes on that we spoke about, you also mentioned, you don't have to be a IITian or a BTech guy to be a good programmer,
Yep.
right? You did BSc in mathematics, MBA, then have done data analysis. Now you are a senior engineering manager leading a 20 people team. You have worked with Morgan Stanley, Credit Suisse, UpGrad. Right now you're working with Ignite, working remotely. You don't have a BTech degree, right?
Yep.
How do you feel about, this thing that right now companies require a BTech, do not select a NCA or BCA guys for that tech openings, just reject the resume based on the degree that they have. How do you feel about that?
I just feel that companies are losing out on good programmers. I have seen a lot of people hiring their alumni, right? So the founders
Hmm.
are from, say, for example, they are from BITS Pilani. So they would hire people from BITS, basically, whatever, wherever they are.
Yeah.
People, founders who are from NIT, basically, they would hire people from NIT. Similar is the
Hmm.
case with the IIT, right? They go for this, okay, we need these people. Yes, these people have proved that academically they are strong, but once they are thrown out in the market and where it's kind of a rat race, you
Hmm.
never know who will actually excel and come forward and be the guy for you when your team is actually down. So I'm totally against that. Even in Ignite or whatever company that I have worked in, they don't have this criteria. Yes, they would need some education related to computer science, and they would look at your experience basically.
Hmm.
If you are a fresher, then yes, they would look whether you have done engineering or even when we hire interns, right? Yes, we do visit colleges who are like BTech or engineering graduates. But if I have a reference somewhere who has done, say, BCA or MCA, right? The India head is not going to say no. They would still interview the
Hmm.
candidate, see on the basis of interview where that candidate is like he is fit, whether he is trainable or not, he or she, right? And then
Hmm.
we would get them onto our payrolls and then we would train them. So we per se don't do that. A lot of companies don't do that. It's just that kind of flashy companies who are more into show off, right now they got this much funding, so now they are looking for IITians to drive the companies and all those things. But if
Hmm.
you look at the data, IITians have destroyed a lot of startups rather than building them, and they have that has cost a lot of money to the investors. So only the successful data comes up, right?
Yeah.
But the failures, they are never highlighted. If you see it in a way, then you will realize that degrees don't matter. They just matter till your first job. After that, they don't matter. You work hard, you gain your experience, and then your experience speaks for you.
Hmm. Yep. Also, for the audience, for the people who are, thinking of, going into bigger companies, the big names versus the startups, I want to hear from you since you have been a veteran, in tech space. So, want to understand how would you differentiate the working culture of a Morgan Stanley versus Credit Suisse versus UpGrad versus Ignite?
So if you get into big companies, right, uh, what happens is it entirely depends on what team you are part of,
Hmm.
right? And how much work do they have. That actually helps in carving your knowledge. And if you are in your initial phases of your career, right, it actually helps shape up your entire career as well. So for example, I did not have much work in Morgan Stanley as a developer.
Yeah, you
Hardly
mentioned.
I used to
Yes.
go to, yeah. It was stark difference from what I did in Credit Suisse. In Credit Suisse, we were building the entire system. So there were three people, and three of us actually built up the entire derivative system out there. It was
Hmm.
earlier in C, C++. We shifted entire thing into Java, and it actually helped us shape in the future things, and we can actually see our things running in production, and that gave us a very good feel. I did not
Hmm.
get that feel in Morgan Stanley. So doesn't matter where you go, whether you go in Amazon or whether you go in Google, right? It all depends like what kind of work the team that you are going to join is into.
Hmm.
There are certain teams that are just into maintenance kind of mode. You will not, I mean, you will get good salary, you will feel good about it for 6 months. After that you will start feeling that something is lagging, right?
Hmm.
uh, when you join startups, some startups who have good funding, you get decent salary, right? But some startups you have to cut back on the salaries and you have to work. So in
Hmm.
startups you learn a lot more, because work will always be there. Whether you're doing good work or bad work, I mean, they can get into wrong direction, because
Hmm.
their CTOs would also be inexperienced, right? So they would
Hmm.
just go by their gut feel and get into a technology that they should not be using for a certain kind of product, right? But there'll never be lack of work. So if you are starting your career, you should always get into that kind of mindset. If you slog it out in your initial years, no matter how pressured situation you face later in your career, you know how to tackle that,
Yeah.
right? If you I mean, I don't mean disrespect, but if you get into companies like TCS, Infosys, Cognizant, right, it it is kind of a government job for me. You
Hmm.
should go there to retire and not to make your career. Yeah,
Yep.
you have time to time jobs, you have fixed salary, you get fixed sort of increments, right? You
Hmm.
don't have to worry about anything. It doesn't matter whether you are in a tier 1 city, tier 2 city, tier 3 city. You can get into one of their campuses, they'll take care of you. But once I've seen people struggling when they come from those kind of service companies into the product setup, they are
Hmm.
not able to cope up, because it's not their piece of cake and that's not how they are trained.
Yes. Right now, though, I mean, like product companies, they don't even entertain those folks coming from
They don't.
service background. They prefer someone from a
No, but
product background.
I'm also against it, because I have had really, I mean, good colleagues who
Hmm.
were initially 3 4 years they were in TCS and Infosys, but then they are excellent programmers. It's just that they
Hmm.
got into it because of the scheme of things. I mean, when I graduated in 2001 2003, right, at that time people's dream was to get into companies like Infosys and TCS, right?
Yeah.
So I don't blame them. You also get good programmers over there, but then
Hmm.
yes, the numbers are quite dwindling, and
Hmm.
ultimately it depends on the individuals how they are carving their career out as well, right?
Yep. And how's the so upgrade when you joined upgrade? I'm assuming it was very initial stage. Upgrade was at that time, right? Right now you are at
Not really,
Ignite.
not
Okay.
really. So Upgrade had actually finished 5 or 6 years at that time.
Okay.
It was struggling initially, right? But
Hmm.
then COVID came in, lockdown
Hmm.
came in, and everybody focused on EdTech platforms because everybody wanted to study remotely. So
Hmm.
that actually gave a boom to Upgrade, and they started selling their courses a lot more. And
Hmm.
I also joined Upgrade in middle of the lockdown itself. So
Hmm.
everything was I mean, it was okay. The team was really good again, because a lot of youngsters they came in. They were there for 5 years, 6 years before I joined in. That was their first job or second job. They did not have that much experience, but then whatever they did slog it out. It's always important to slog it out to get your first product out, right?
Hmm.
It will never be perfect product. You should never go for perfect product. You should first put your product out in the market, and then uh, make improvements and make the product better later on. So that's somewhere where I got into Upgrade. It was a
Hmm.
management kind of change over there. The head of engineering had changed, and they were hiring up a lot of people at that time, because a lot of people had also quit the job at that point in time. So there were quite a few changes that were happening, but everybody had that focus clear that okay, I mean, the roadmap was set and we have to deliver according to that roadmap, and that's what people were working for.
Yep. So you talked about EdTech, right?
Yep.
Definitely boomed in pandemic. What do you think? What was a major? I mean, like, have you not sure if you have closely observed Byju's, right?
Yep.
But what was the one difference you think from your lens is like why Byju's failed drastically and why Upgrad is still there and hustling?
So, Byju's was kind of a flashy poster boy of EdTech in India. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, the way they started, right? Byju's started with 10 and 10 plus 2 kind of students, right?
Mm,
That's what they were targeting. What Upgrade was targeting was they were targeting working professionals who don't have time to go to the college
mm,
and they want to do their masters in parallel, right? Kind of a part-time management course that people would do. They would provide plethora of these courses with which are tied up with credible foreign universities
mm,
as well as Indian universities. So if okay, if I'm sitting in Mumbai and if I want to do a course with IIM Ahmedabad, for example, right, I
mm,
can just sit in Mumbai, enroll for that course via upgrade, and I can still finish it off. And since I was
mm,
working professional, the courses are not cheap, so I'll be putting a lot of money in it, right? And it's my hard-earned money. Since I put it in, I'll make sure that I also finish that particular course, right? I would
mm,
religiously attend the online sessions and finish it off. Whereas Baiju's initial focus was the students. I
mm,
mean, it's see, my wife is a teacher. She teaches primary students, right? So she says it's during pandemic she also used to conduct online classes. She said it was
mm,
difficult to get focus of children in a classroom. You cannot have that focus when they are doing it from home. There
mm,
might be some students who might be sleeping, some students are eating, some students are doing something else. There were few students who used to like switch on, I mean, get into the calls in
mm.
the lectures, right? They used to switch off their camera and they used to go away and play, right? So, uh, what is your, I mean, who are you focusing on, right? Who are your
Mm,
target audience? So, Upgrade had a different set of target audience where it was sure that yes, they would get into. They
mm,
would not get as many enrollments as Byju's because their courses are very expensive. But
mm,
then it's the quality that they get in, and then the word of mouth that yes, okay, I did a course from Upgrade, it's good. So that actually helps keep Upgrade afloat. Whereas in Byju's, you might have also seen in the news how predatory tactics that they had their basically salespeople had engaged into, right? They
mm,
got a lot of parents into debt. People who cannot even afford to send their children to private schools, they have sold Byju's courses to them. I mean,
mm.
how are they going to learn using that tablet and all the stuff? I mean, you get them into that EMI kind of thing, and they are already struggling. That's not your target audience,
Yep.
and they became too flashy too soon. They did a lot
Mm,
of advertisements. That's how they got a lot of funding as well, and they ventured into areas. They also ventured into what Upgrade is doing. But then by the time there were other companies which were already well established. So all Byju's was doing was taking over a lot of companies and trying to kind of establish it rather than building it from scratch, right? They
yeah.
wanted to do things really fast. That's the reason why I see like they had a very big downfall.
Okay. All right. So I think we finished one section. I think it's 1 hour 60 minutes. Vishal, I want to ask, like, if do you have a hard stop?
I do have a hard stop at 4:30.
Okay. So
Okay.
it's 7 minutes we have.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
we had
So
a lot of
most
we just covered one
we
topic.
just covered your journey. I think it's great. I love. I mean, like when people go into depth, right? That's
Yeah.
what we want to go. And I mean, like I have already noted 26 points. What do you have mentioned?
And I didn't even ask myself a question.
No,
But
if you
it's good.
want, we can do a part two of this podcast as well. I mean, if you want to divide it into parts.
I would
So
love to do part three and part four because I'm pretty sure if I am gonna ask questions, you will go into depth and give me so descriptive answers that I want to hear and love. And
every every
this gives me a
question,
perspective.
yeah, every question Shivam has asked, I had a follow up in mind. So I've noted down my follow ups. I had to ask those, so I'm like, it will take 2 3 more sessions to complete everything.
Yep. But I think Vishal, because the one purpose of doing this, I think Vishal, you can ask your most important question. I think let's sum it up with that, because I wanted to. I think let's do a short, pure session on Java, because
Sure.
that's one big
Yeah.
thing that I want to tell people, because I come across a lot of Java developers who don't know Java,
Yep.
and they don't know from where to start. Everybody nowadays are very much interested in Python, right? But I've seen Java from, like, since I was in class 8, 9. In ICSE, we used to have a computer programming subject, and they used to teach us, Java programs,
Correct.
palindrome, and all of that stuff. And that was like very interesting. Then in 11,
Hmm.
12, we get C, C++, right? So I know Java, and I still hear Java, and people still have jobs in Java. There are plenty of opportunities in Java. So it's never getting old. It's never
No.
getting out of there. And I want to understand why and all. So I think let's do a whole,
Definitely.
session on this. But yeah, Vishal, you go ahead. We still have 5 minutes. Your very important question that you want to ask.
Uh,
Yeah.
I
My very
yeah.
Yeah. Please, Vishal, go
No,
ahead.
no.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I won't ask anything like the personal journey you have already covered, right?
Hmm.
I just want to ask one thing, which is very basic. So you mentioned your food habits, right?
Yep.
And what you like. Since you are in Mumbai for so long, do you like vada pav over there, or
Definitely.
overrated?
No, no. It's not. It's not at all overrated, frankly speaking. But then yes, there are select few places where you get good vada pav, right? And there are certain places where you may not get that good experience.
So what's that one place you say that in 2024, if someone wants to have a vada
Wants to,
pav,
yeah.
it's not in Mumbai, should go and have that vada pav in Mumbai.
My home.
Ah, nice.
No, the reason I'll tell you. So post COVID, right?
Uh,
I haven't started consuming the outside food that much, but then there are quite a few places that I can say. So Dadar, near the Dadar station itself, there are like lot of shops. They
Hmm.
sell vada pavs and they are like very good.
Hmm.
There is one when you go in the Western Railways towards north from Mumbai. There is a station known as Vangaon. It's a very
mm-hmm.
small
Hmm.
station. It's only famous for the vada pav in the railway stalls.
Oh, nice.
Mm,
Then you go towards Gujarat, you go in Valsad, they also have excellent vada pav. That's what they are famous for. And all the vada pavs, they taste different. In
Hmm.
Mithibai, when I was studying in Mithibai, the stalls outside Mithibai, at that time, when the entire world was selling vada pav for 5 rupees, 7 rupees, they
mm-hmm.
were selling vada pav for 20 rupees.
Wow.
Oh, 4x.
Forex, yes. But
Mm,
the taste, once you have it, right, you would not believe the taste because they used to have different types of chutneys and they used to apply butter on that vada pav at that point in time. They were the only people
Hmm.
who used to do that. So
yeah.
that actually helps a lot of things. Plus, if you go towards Thane, right, Thane has lot of authentic Maharashtrian small shops.
Mm,
You have misal pav over there, you have vada pav over there. That taste is different from what you have in Dadar and in Mithibai and different places. So
mm,
even if it's the same dish, the way of preparing the dish also matters and the way you mix the ingredients, right? So
mm.
there are few places where you can have different taste of vada pav
Hmm.
and still like it, but then there are also certain places where I mean, it ruins it for you. If you have that for
So
the
Yeah.
first time, then
I mean, like, so the Vada Pav girl, which is famous, did do Mumbaikar cringe when they see her stuff on internet?
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't follow that much on social media. The only active social media that I have is LinkedIn.
Hmm.
Basically, it's a long time back I
hmm.
stopped. I do have an account in Facebook and in Instagram, but it has been 3 or 4 years since I haven't logged in. So I don't see these kind of viral things. But
Hmm.
people don't in Mumbai, at least people don't worry about those things, right? If
Yeah.
somebody is doing
Because
good,
you have so many options there. So your first favorite option is your home, right?
yes,
Yeah.
That's one. Which is the second most favorite vada pav that you would recommend to
Thane,
someone? Thane
Thane,
one.
Funny.
yes.
Okay,
Okay.
nice. And why is that?
They do serve, and you get that similar kind of vada pav taste even when you are traveling by Mumbai Pune expressway and you get down at the food stalls in between, right? It's
Hmm.
because their vada is prepared in a different manner, right? Also, the chutney that they serve along with it, right? It's totally different. So people, they give you the coriander and pudina chutney,
Green chutney.
they green chutney, and then they give you that maroon chutney, which is like khajur and imli ki chutney,
Yeah.
right? And then there is garlic chutney, which is red color thing.
Hmm.
These guys, their garlic chutney is kind of a dry powdered chutney, and it has, instead of just having dry coconut, they
Hmm.
also put in peanuts, crushed peanuts in that.
Hmm.
So that
Okay.
gives a different flavor and different taste altogether.
Even a crunch as
Even
well.
the crunch, yes, yes. And
Hmm.
it's freshly prepared because it goes bad really fast. So
Hmm.
they don't keep it for like more than a few hours, something like that. So they have fresh chutney in the morning, then again it comes in the afternoon, then again it comes in the evening and stuff like that. So it's really good.
Cool. So I think I had a similar vada pav. So in Noida, when I used to live in Noida, there was a uh, outlet opened Goli
Goli.
Vada Pav,
Yeah,
Hmm.
Goli Vada Pav.
right? They used to give that same vada pav. So it's had a green chutney and a red chutney,
Hmm.
plus that
Hmm.
uh, crushed
Powdered
powder
garlic
of
chutney, yeah.
that and a green chili, right? So I can imagine, right, what you are just saying, and I am having water in my mouth.
Yeah.
So I can imagine. But yeah, I mean, like vada pav is, I think it's the most easiest snack that you can ever have because you can walk and eat vada pav. It's so easy to handle.
No, it's
No, nothing
not
else.
only not only that. So the basically there is a saying in Mumbai that
Hmm.
nobody goes hungry at night in Mumbai.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So vada pav are the cheapest options that are available, right?
Yeah.
All the daily workers, they also eat vada pav,
Hmm.
and somebody who
Hmm.
owns a Mercedes also would go to the same stall and eat vada pav,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
There might be some luxury setups, but again, you get lost. I mean, you won't find that taste in those setups.
Hmm.
What you get in local stalls is the ultimate taste that you would get of the local cuisine anywhere you go,
Yeah.
right? So I had seen when in during my childhood, and I observed that what the workers used to do was they get their daily wages. They
Hmm.
would come, they would have vada pav with lot of chilies. Okay, they would have two vada pav with lot of chilies.
Hmm.
It was spicy, so then they would drink water, and that would fill their stomach, and they will have good night's sleep because they are already tired, but they
Hmm.
cannot afford more. But then even that two vada pav was sufficient for them to be a
I
dinner
think
for
two
the
is
next day.
two is good.
Yeah, it's
Two
good.
is not. It's
It's not bad. Yep.
stomach filling, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So in Mumbai, you can survive no matter what class you are in, how much you can spend. You will never go hungry because even if you just have 10, 15 rupees, even now, right, you will still get
Hmm.
something to eat that would fill your stomach.
Yep. I think I would say same in West Bengal because you can get like dal bhat or even fish in 10-15 rupees,
Yeah.
right? And they will give
Same
you a
thing is
lot
in
of
South
rice.
India as well. They
Yeah,
would give you dosas, idlis, and vadas for very cheap price
very
at
cheap.
in that area, right? So it's basically this is something that I observed in Mumbai, but I have not traveled a lot within India. But I would say
Hmm.
it's more of an Indian thing than to a particular city or a state,
Hmm.
that you, I mean, all class of people would get something to eat or the other, right? So vada pav is very handy, like you said. It's very portable
Hmm.
kind of
Yeah,
food.
it is.
You just carry it, you eat, and you, I mean, even burgers you need to sit and eat. Vada
Hmm.
pav, you can just hold it in your hand, eat it, and
Yeah.
like get on
And
with
then
your
you
life.
don't need a sauce or ketchup.
No, you
You
don't.
don't need anything. You can just eat it like that.
Yes, yes,
And I think in North India, it's more of a paratha
correct.
culture that we have a
Yes,
20 rupee paratha, aloo paratha, or whatever paratha we
yes,
can have. But you still need a plate and you have to stand and eat there.
correct.
Vada pav is like very portable.
Yep.
Cool, interesting. I think this food talks can go longer. All
Now,
right.
in one of our next sessions, I'll also like tell you the entire food kind of journey,
Hmm.
where
Hmm.
from a foodie, how I also became or like started cooking food for myself,
Hmm.
because I was struggling for good food in Singapore
Yeah,
and
Hmm.
US.
I was going to ask that when you were in US and in Singapore, how did you manage to eat?
Yep.
Because are you a vegetarian?
Yes, I'm pure vegetarian.
Okay, then
Hmm. The
it would
struggle
be a
is
bigger
real.
struggle.
Yes, it
I,
was
I
it was a
I
kind of
also have
a
this.
experience actually, rather than a struggle.
Hmm.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's a learning curve, right?
Yep.
Where you and I was gonna ask. I have one more question, like which I will ask in this food series. So how do you? I mean, like because Nepali food is very different from any Indian food that we have,
Yes,
right? How do you manage, right? Do you still have Nepali food cuisine happen, and what do you do
we
that
do. We
you
do.
do?
Yes,
Cool.
and see, because my all my masis and mama, they are Nepali. So
Hmm.
uh, my mom, she could not. I mean, when before marriage, she needed chicken every day, chicken or fish.
Hmm. That's how it works with them.
That's, yeah. After marriage, she gave up all those things. She shifted to like pure veg cuisine,
Hmm.
right? And then she has that Lalaji Seva, the Lord Krishna Bhagwan Seva. So
Hmm.
Hmm.
it has been like almost 15-20 years since she has stopped consuming even onion and garlic and certain
Hmm.
vegetables in certain seasons. So I mean, it's a drastic change that she has done. But my masis, they are still married into that Nepali family, so they still
Hmm.
eat. My mama and my grandmother, they all got converted into strict vegetarian food because of various different reasons. I mean, somebody had health issues, so they shifted. Then my nanny said, like, why to cook two different meals? They
Hmm.
also started consuming only vegetarian, so much so that my cousin, my mama's son, if somebody is eating non-veg food beside him, or even if
Hmm.
they say some non-veg food items, he would start puking at then
Oh.
and there. He can't bear that smell. He can't even, so whenever those words fall in his ear, that smell gets triggered in his mind and he starts puking at that time.
Oh.
So that's a drastic transformation that has happened,
Hmm.
but definitely we'll speak about that as well sometime.
Yup.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, it is. Food is always interesting for me.
Yes.
Nice. So we'll wrap it up here, Vishal.
Yep.
Thanks very much for joining us. We'll definitely plan another session. We have
Sure.
3, 4 more topics. So Java is one, remote teams, leadership, and all that is one, and food is another that you have just
Definitely.
mentioned.
Yep.
Any last minute thing that you want to tell our viewers so that they still stay engaged for the next session?
uh it's the same thing that whatever you do, you give your best, right? If you, and you need to kind of figure out very fast whether anything is working for you or not. Like
Hmm.
even for Java programmers, I'll give certain tips and tricks, like what actually works for them and what does not work for them. If
Hmm.
you are not good at programming, that is not end of the world. That does not mean you are dumber than other guys. That
Hmm.
actually means that you are fascinating and very talented in something else that
Something
these
else.
guys are not, right? You
Hmm.
just need to
Yes.
figure out what that is, and that's when you can excel, because I believe nobody is dumb.
Hmm.
They excel in certain areas, they would be dumb in certain areas.
Hmm.
Even for me, it's the same thing, right? I'm not I mean, if you ask me to become politics and start campaigning for BJP, I can't do that. I'm pretty dumb in that area, right? I would be beaten by BJP followers, forget about the opposition, if I start doing that,
Yep.
no matter how dedicated I am. So it always depends. You need to find out where you are good at, and you should
Yes.
continue your hard work and good work over there.
Yes. So for next session, guys, we would focus on. I mean, we can definitely focus on how you can find this stuff, which is interesting, where you can make your career. Definitely about Java a lot, right, and remote work a lot in the next session. So see you in the next session, guys. Thank you, Vishal and Vishal.
Thank you.
Right. Have a
Thank
great
you.
Sunday, you guys.
Yep.
And we'll talk soon then.
Sure.
Right. Thank
Sounds
you,
good.
guys.
All
Bye
right.
bye.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
sir.
guys. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Bye.